Welcome back to another video review. Today we'll be looking at some holsters from a company called Tactop Industrial Co. Limited, or also known as TEGE or TEGE. Not 100% sure how to pronounce that, but it's their opinion name for Tactop, which stands for Tactical and Effective Gear. Throughout this video, I'm just going to call them Tactop. Alright, so Tactop reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to take a look at some of their holsters and some of their attachments, and I said sure. So they sent me out a sample box. This isn't a sponsored video. This is basically, they just wanted my opinion. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to break up this video into two parts. Video 1 will be about the holsters, and video 2 will be about the attachments. Just due to I wanted to make sure that I covered all the information for them, and there's a bunch of features that I wanted to show. So as mentioned, it's going to be two parts. So Tactop has multiple different series. The primary series that we're going to be looking at is the 360 degree series, which we have in front of me. I will touch base and talk about some of the other series, but for the most part, primarily the products that I have in front of me with their attachments are the 360 degree series. All right, so let's get into the video. All right, so to start, Tactop is a company that's from China. So all their products are made in China. From what I can tell from looking at the websites where they sell their items and their personal website, the items only come in one color, which is the black that you see in front here. They state that it's made from a high-tech polymer. I've looked to find out what grade level. I haven't found any information on it. It just says that they provide polymer holsters. But on their website it says high-tech polymer. I asked them about it because I was a little curious about what the heat tolerances was with their polymer, but the materials they are using are REACH, CE, ROSE, and SGS certified, and they do have their certifications on their website. They are sort of a newer company. They've only been around, seems like 2 or 3 years. So yeah, a lot of people might not know about this company, and I think that was part of the reason why they reached out to me, was just so that some people might know about them, especially airsofters. Another interesting thing that's on their packaging is it says choose your items. So when I was looking at the websites where they sell their product, which was Alibaba, Amazon, eBay, even at one point they were selling on the Airsoft store website for eVic or eVic, and so they are available out there in the community. But the one thing I noticed that set them apart from other companies such as like SciTech or IMI was that when you buy their holsters, it always comes with a paddle. Well, when I received their packaging and then looking on their website, you can choose and sort of like a mix and match of what items, what holster you want with what attachment. So for example, if you look at the labeling on here, it's 1911 with the adjusting MOLLE adapter. So we got the MOLLE adapter and the holster. So I thought that was pretty cool because like I said before, you buy these, usually it comes with a paddle, and then you buy the attachment separate. This lets you get everything all in one. So if you've got a battle belt and you know you want to use the MOLLE adapter, then you pick the MOLLE adapter with the holster of your choice, and you're all set up, and you don't have to worry about buying different attachments and mixing and doing all that. So I was actually impressed with that and how that's set up. So yeah. And then basically it comes in the standard packaging that we see with airsoft as of late, which is just a plastic baggie with a Ziploc closure. Finally, as mentioned, I'm going to be covering primarily the 360 degree system. That will include, when it comes to the holsters and attachments, the Gen 1 and Gen 2 way of attaching them, since they have two different versions. Along with, I'll also be covering the retention levels. So the 360 degree batch of items are primarily level 2 and level 3 retention. They do have the IWB series, which is in your waistband, which is your level 1 retention. And then they do have a 60 degree series that does level 2 and level 3 retention as well. So, but as I mentioned, we're going to be primarily looking at the 360 degree system and the retention levels that are included within that series. All right, so on to our first holster. Okay, so let's start taking a closer look at the holsters. What I'm going to be covering briefly is the different attachments. I'm going to be talking about the retention levels, how they're released from the holster, along with discussing the 360-degree rotation system that you can find on here, because there is a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 switch on these. So yeah, let's take a closer look. The first holster we're going to be looking at is the 1911 holster. So inside the packaging, you get the holster and whatever attachment that you chose. In this case, it's got the MOLLE adapter on it. You get a manual and an Allen key. The manual basically goes over the different generations of their switches for this 360-degree rotation, different holsters, different attachments, different modifications for the holsters, because some of them can be changed. Show the magazine pouch, which I do have, or magazine holster, and just how to take it all apart, so that if it did break or a piece is broken, you can probably get the part from them and get it replaced and fix it yourself. So very well done manual. You got an Allen key. This Allen key is used for attaching or unattaching whatever adapter it is you have attached to your holster. Some other holsters come with a couple extra pieces, which I'll show along the way. Also, I'll just give, like, for generic pricing, for a holster such as this, you're looking around the $23 mark. That's including the attachment. This particular version, as mentioned, is the 1911 holster. This is new to the market from my understanding. It's a level 2 retention, since it uses the index finger release right here. So it's got a spring, and then there's a little tab inside that releases the pistol from the holster. I'm not sure in the future if they're going to do it or not, but these 2 points right here are for attaching a hood. So you could make it a level 3 retention, hopefully in the future, which is pretty cool. This particular model is using the Gen 1 rotation system for the 360 degree. Basically, it's a lever. You pull that lever down, and there's a tab right here, and then you can move it around. In between each right angle, there's 2 angles of adjustment. So 1, 2, and then you're back at a right angle. So if you want to, you could set up this holster to be horizontal on your vest, or you can just leave it vertical if you wish. I also suggest that when rotating these, that you do it clockwise. I find that it's a little stiff on the back way, and it might screw up the way the gear system works. So I suggest to always be spinning it in counter or clockwise, not counterclockwise, but clockwise. All right. And then once you got to the position that you want, just lock it down. So as mentioned, level 2 retention with the index finger, possible upgrade in the future for level 3 with the hood. So let's test the pistol in here. I've got my KWA Mark IV PTP, so it's a professional training pistol, and it's actually 1-to-1, so it fits perfectly in here. Just the right amount of tightness. I actually really like this holster. Very impressed with that. All right, so we're going to move on to the next holster. This holster basically is the exact same, just it's for the Sig Sauer P226, using level 2 retention, finger index release. This particular one, though, why I wanted to show this one is it comes with the belt attachment. So this, you just push these 2 tabs down, open up. You can adjust this from 1.5 to 2-inch belts so they can fit on there snugly. One thing that I find with this attachment that's a little bit better than other ones is I've actually had one of these on a flashlight, but it was totally solid. You couldn't do what this one does. And basically, if you take this clip system off here, this one can also be used on the MOLLE PALS webbing, which I'll show in the attachments video, but it has dual use. So I really like this clip system. Very nice. This one's using the Gen 2 style of 360 rotation system. So basically it's in the lock position right now. This one, however, you just pull down this switch and now it spins around. Same thing again. You can hear how it makes a weird sound when you do it backwards, but when you do it the clockwise way, I find that that works best. And then once you got to the position you want, just push that up and now it's locked in place. There is a slight bit of give, not bad. And again, same 2 points of angle in between each right angle for adjustment. As for fit, I found that this one's tolerances were a little bit loose. This is pretty much 1-to-1 right here, and I found it's loose. And I do have another holster here from another brand. And when I put it in there, it fits a lot snugger. It's not as loose. While this one, a little bit too much. You can actually see the tolerances on it. It's way too loose. This needs to be adjusted and fixed. Like even the height on it, it's way too high. So I would suggest a change to that, but the rest of it, not bad. Works. So again, level 2 retention for the Sig Sauer P226. Okay, so next we're going to be looking at some Glock 17 holsters. These use a different retention system. So let's pull one over here. So as you can see, this one does not use the index finger. This is still a retention level 2, but however, this one's using the thumb release. So inside, there's a little piece in here that once the pistol mounts in there, it pivots and it locks the pistol into the holster. And then when you want to release it, use your thumb release. So this is a retention level 2. As you can see, this one has the ability to be modified with a hood, which I'll show in a little bit. This is using a paddle. This is another attachment, and the material is really giving. I actually like this paddle. It's not bad. It's not going to break on you. Seems stiff enough to hold your pistol in place. I didn't have any issues when I was testing it and drawing from it. So yeah, it's actually sized for a 2-inch belt. So anyways, I'll get into that in the next video a little bit more. It's using the Gen 1 system for rotation, again 360 degree, but using thumb release. Also, since this does the Glock 17, 22, and 31, it does all 5 generations. So Gen 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. In the manual, it says that you need to mount like an adapter in there, and you get that within the packaging, which is this piece right here. And then there's also a pin in there that holds it into place. So you put your piece in and you put this pin through. So this is what the piece looks like, and it goes inside. And this is to help, I guess, with the tolerances of the size of difference between the pistols. For my example, I'm using a WhispTech pistol. I did a video actually on this pistol versus the real steel, and the tolerances are a little bit tighter on this because the frame is bigger. But inside this holster, works out perfectly, no issues. It's nice and in there, snug, but loose enough for it to come out. No issues at all. Fits perfectly. And that's why I'm curious if maybe the manual has a mistake there. I'm not sure. I took this holster over to a friend's house and we tested it, and he has a Gen 4 Glock, and we didn't have to put the adapter in, and it fit perfectly fine, and the tolerance was perfect on it. So unsure about that. So anyways, works perfectly. Didn't have any issues. Right, and then the final holster that I got was the duty version. So this is retention level 2 with just a thumb. And this one here is a level 3 retention. And this has the hood though. So you have your thumb retention and then the hood retention. So that's why it makes it a level 3. This comes with the drop offset, which is one of my favorite. For the adapters, same thing, 360 degree. Can spin it around. Basically, these are both the same holster. The only difference is that this one has a hood, and in the packaging for this one, it comes with the adapter for the different generations of pistols, and then also a smaller Allen key. And the smaller Allen key is for removing these screws right here, so that you can actually take off that hood and make it a level 2. So I actually prefer that if I was to buy it personally, I would go straight for the hooded one, because that way then you have the option of it having the hood or not having the hood, which is pretty cool. And I know that there's some brands of holsters out there where they're level 3 retention holsters with the hood. The hood is actually built right into the polymer. They're not removable. So that was another bonus as well with this. And then I'm not sure if they sell this separate. I haven't seen it separate, but that's why I suggest that you buy it with the hood if you ever do want to have the hood. Price difference actually between the two. Again, this holster right here with the thumb release is 23 bucks with whatever attachment, but when you get into the one with the hood, this is $29, and that's US dollars that I'm speaking of. So yeah, not bad. I'll just show an example of this WhispTech Glock put in with the hood. I'm just going to spin that around, lock it into place. And one of the reasons why I like the drop offset, for some reason when I'm drawing, I like that position the best. It also gives you the clearance of your vest because it is dropped down a little bit lower. And this is what you would see mostly like police officers using with the level 3 retention, sometimes even level retention 4 if they have the safety lock on their holsters. But yeah, and then release, no issue at all, fits perfectly. Very nice. All right, so just briefly again, you're looking at 23 bucks for whatever holster you choose with whatever attachment. The duty holster, because it does come with a hood, is a little bit more expensive at $29 US dollars. Even the difference between the different retention levels, still you're looking at 23 bucks, whatever attachment. The attachments, if you did want to switch up your attachments, are roughly about 10 bucks or 10 US dollars a piece. So not bad, inexpensive. I can see this being used primarily for airsofters and people at the range. All right, so one quick thing I want to look at before we close. As mentioned, I'm going to do all the attachments in a separate video. They did send me this. This was a magazine holster. However, this goes to their 60-degree series. So as I mentioned before, they have different series. This is a 360-degree series. This is their 60-degree series, where they only have the options of a paddle or a belt clip. They don't have the MOLLE adapter for that or nothing. And then it attaches a little bit different. And I'll show that in the next video as well. But this one only pivots 60 degrees. After testing this holster with some magazines, so airsoft magazines are usually a little bit thinner, and so a little bit harder to buy magazine holders in the polymer world. Due to, like on my SciTac one, I have to use loop field Velcro to do the tightness. This one actually has a little bit of tabs pushing in from the back and from the sides. And when I put these into here, they fit perfectly. I haven't even tightened these down all the way. And that's because this particular magazine pouch is actually made for doing 9mm, 40 cal, and other caliber magazines that are a little bit thinner to thicker. So they a little bit more tolerance. But the one wish that I had is that I hope that they do a 360 version of this. They do have a single magazine holder that's adjustable for different size mags, but it only does the one, and I prefer to have 2 mags on me, on my belt at all times. So this, with the 360 version system, with the MOLLE clip, I think would work really well. As mentioned, here's a second mag right here. The polymer, or whatever they use on this, is a little bit softer. It actually wraps around the magazines and holds them in perfectly. Like, they're not coming out. So I just want to show that quickly because this is from the 60-degree series, and we were focusing on the 360-degree series. That they do have magazine. They have actually a flashlight in this version. They can do your flashlight with, and a couple other items. But yeah, just figured I'd show that quickly. So, and actually very cheap. This magazine pouch, I found it online for like $6 for this. And I find this better than some of the other versions that I've had. All right, so in conclusion, we've gone over the different retention levels. I haven't had any problems with that. You got your thumb retention, you got your index finger retention system, got level 2s and level 3 systems. So they cover pretty much everything. If you're looking for even in the waistband IWB series, they have that where it's just basically retention level 1, shove it in your waistline for basically for concealed carry. And then they have the 60-degree system. And they also have an other holster that I'm hoping maybe in the future, after I've done these videos, that they might allow me to see that, which is the IPSC, which is a holster that actually has these shims, and you can adjust it to work with different styles of pistols, which I'm interested in looking at. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Please subscribe. Have a great day, have a great week, and take care.